Welcome to From Our Generation, where we uncover the ideas and events that shape the world we live in today. I'm Crom Carmichael.
And I'm Mike Hassel.
Together we'll explore the past to better understand the present, because history isn't just about what happened, it's about how you think about it. Well, Rush, it is Friday, June 19th, and thank you for sitting in for my co-host, Mike Hassel, who is still traveling and having a big time. By the way, he is now a grandfather for the first time.
Nice.
So that's very cool. I've got a number of subjects that I want to talk about that I think are all tied together.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to start with somebody sent me a link to the CNN poll about the 4th of July. Mm-hmm. And I want to play that first, let you look at it, and then I want to talk about the implications of that, and then I want to tie the results of that poll into some other stories that I've seen in the last week or so. Okay?
Perfect. Let's roll.
So if we could pull up that video, and then it'll be the audio also. So for those people who are merely listening to the podcast, they'll be able to hear what we are looking at.
How patriotic are Americans feeling this morning? With us now, CNN chief data analyst.
We will always remember Lexington and Concord, people. We will always remember it here on CNC.
Patriots Day versus the 4th. We know which one is more important, but the meaning of the 4th. When we ask voters about this, what do most of them say at this point?
This, to me, is one of the most stunning divides that we have seen. You know, we're talking about polarization in politics. It even comes down to what you believe July 4th actually is. Like, what does July 4th mean to you? Celebrate America, friends and family time. Among Republicans, what do you see? You see the clear majority say it's a time to celebrate America, 65%. Among Democrats, however, the plurality disagree. Look at that. What do you see? Friends and family time at 42% versus just 24% who say that what it means most of them is to celebrate America. So even on the basic question of what July 4th means to you, we have Republicans on one end saying celebrate America, more of them say that, and Democrats on the other end saying that it means more to them to have time with friends and family.
What do they say about the flag?
Yeah, okay, so what do they say about the flag? Even on the basic level of flag, look at this. Look at how we have an increasing polarization on this issue. We'll display the flag on July 4th, the American flag. Back in July of 2001, look at this. You had 68% of Republicans, 65% of Democrats saying that they would, in fact, display the flag on July 4th. You come over to this side of the screen, Republicans basically are where they were 25 years ago, right? 64%. But look at that Democratic percentage, absolutely plummeting. Just 27% of Democrats say they will, in fact, display the flag on July 4th. Democrats and Republicans in different camps, even on the simple question of displaying the flag on July 4th, a polarization, a split that simply put did not exist a generation ago.
What about the sloganeering about proud to be an American?
Okay, what about this idea? Are you proud to be an American? Extremely or very proud to be an American? Again, look at this divide, a growing divide on this question. Back in January of 2001, 90% of Republicans, 85% of Democrats. This was after a very contentious 2000 election, keep in mind, right, with George W. Bush coming into the White House. You come over to this side of the screen in 2026, look at this. Again, the Democratic percentage absolutely plummets to just 29% of Democrats say they're extremely or very proud to be an American. That Republican percentage, the exact same, 90 and 90. The Democratic percentage, what is that? That's basically a third of the level that it was just 25 years ago.
I think you're right to point out that this was a time when Democrats might have been feeling badly about the course of the country. Still, 85% said they were proud to be American. Something's changed.
Something has absolutely changed, despite the fact a contentious time then, a contentious time now, and yet Democrats, that extremely very pride number has absolutely plummeted.
Wow.
So, Rush, when I saw that to begin with, the problem here is much deeper than just those polls, because we're talking about the thing that I thought was fascinating about those poll results is they showed what's happened in a generation, in a 20-year period. Now, by the way, in the 2001, 9/11 had not happened yet.
I was going to say that.
9/11 was in September. This was in January of 2001. Mm-hmm. So it's right after, as they point out, a very, very contentious election. Mm-hmm. And so when I look at that poll, and then I look at other stories. And let me just give you a couple of other stories that that I think are really interesting. One is they did a poll of students at Harvard, and now Harvard is it is clearly one of the most elite universities in the country. Harvard students are twice as mentally ill as the general population amid Ivy psychological meltdown. So here's what the data shows. And so I'm not attacking Harvard here. I'm just saying this is an elite university. By the way, Princeton's even worse than Harvard.
Really?
Yeah, in this regard. So let me just read what some of these it says. 47% of surveyed seniors indicate they've experienced mental illness at some point in their time at Harvard, and 13% said they're unsure. So that's 60% of the seniors either say they've experienced mental illness or they're unsure whether or not they have, and which is double the U.S. population. At Princeton, a senior survey conducted by the Princetonian student newspaper found 60.1% had mental illness counseling or therapy during college. And so the question is, when you take people who are very intelligent, because you don't get into Harvard and Princeton unless you have a high level of innate intelligence. And so what is it they're saying? Some of what they are teaching, because these are seniors, these are not incoming freshmen.
Yeah, that's a good point to make.
So they've been there for 4 years. They've had a chance to educate. Now, I put educate in parentheses.
Yeah.
They have a case to educate. So are they educating or are they indoctrinating? And are they in the 4 years at these elite universities, are they telling these students that the deck is stacked against you, no matter who you are, or that if you're white, you're a terrible person, and if you're black, you're a victim with no chances of upward mobility? And so the question and I think that a lot of this poll number, when they dig deeper into the poll numbers, they find that college educated are more depressed than people who didn't go to college. And so it's an interesting thing to me is what causes that shift in 20 years, not only on patriotism, I tie patriotism to the same kind of question, is the country headed in the right direction? Or the question, will my children be better off than I am?
Yeah.
All of those questions, Democrats are very, very negative in their answers to that.
Yeah.
Now, they're living
even when a Democratic president is in office.
Well, we don't know that because the poll was taken 20 years ago and now it's taken now.
Yeah, but I'd be willing to bet there'd be the same disparity while Biden was in office for how people felt about America in general.
Well, that's a fair point, but we're going to stick with the poll. Yeah. We're going to stick with the poll numbers that we have here.
Fair.
So this has to be something that is essentially taught, or it could be something that is a result of social media feeds.
Yeah.
That feed you the same negative information because you're clicking on it and constantly looking at it. Whoa, how terrible things are, when things really aren't terrible at all. And so anyway, I found that to be really interesting. Yeah. Now, related to that, I saw a story, and I think this is right in here. Headline of the story is leftist professor goes viral by admitting the hard truth. Trump has destroyed their dreams and the Democrat Party too. That's the headline. Yeah. That doesn't mean he has. It's just what the headline is.
Yes.
But this guy is named Dan Kervick, and he is a professor of philosophy at St. Anselm's College in Manchester, New Hampshire. Now, that's a small college, a small liberal arts college, obviously. He's a self-described socialist internationalist. Okay? Now, if there's anything, if there's any person who would have two different descriptions in how they think that would be being under attack by Trump, it would be a socialist and an internationalist. So he's
checking all the boxes.
So he feels like but here's what he says. I'm quoting from him. We've lost Venezuela. We might lose Cuba. The condition of Palestine is desperate. Global climate action is dead. Techno-fascists are running everything. The U.S. left is magnified, populist trash in possession of zero brain power. Now, so he's obviously very distraught.
Yes,
and
very emotional.
Yeah, but here's what's interesting to me in this article, here's how populism. So I want to talk about two words in this podcast. One is populism, and the other is oligarch. So populism, roughly speaking, is a politics of broad appeal, distinguishing itself from an establishment. Merriam-Webster put it this way: a political philosophy or movement that represents or is claimed to represent the interests of ordinary people, especially against the establishment. Now, Donald Trump is regularly described disparagingly as a populist, and I believe he is, because the establishment that he's against is the Washington establishment. Okay, which to me, Donald Trump is against the oligarchs. So the question is, what is an oligarch? How would you define an oligarch?
I would define an oligarch as someone who has.
Well, let me change the word. Let me change the word. Oligarchy.
Yes, it would be someone who's in a position of actual power within government, who is going to make unilateral decisions as to your well-being,
or a small group. An oligarchy is a small group of people who have the governmental power, who have the power, not just their wealth. So here's what's interesting to me: who has more power to affect your life, Bernie Sanders or Jeff Bezos?
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, because he is one of 100 senators. If there's an oligarchy, has to do with governmental power. Now, in countries that are run by a dictator, where the dictator chooses who gets to be successful under the dictator, like Putin, there are oligarchs in Russia because they're part of a club that controls Russia. Okay, in the U.S., the billionaires, they don't control anything. They have a lot of money. They can give money. They can try to influence the outcome of elections, but at the end of the day, it's the people who hold the power to change the laws. Those are the ones who are the oligarchs. And Trump is the one who is attacking the establishment. And by the way, under the Biden regime, and especially also under the Obama regime, the other oligarchs were not just the lawmakers, it was the regulators. Because the regulators, until the Supreme Court recently overturned what was called the Chevron decision, in 1984, the Supreme Court ruled that a regulator who promulgated a regulation could not be challenged in court. Okay? Now, that's an oligarch. That may even be more of an oligarch than an elected official, because you can't vote a regulator out of office.
That's right.
Now, recently, the Supreme Court overturned that and said that businesses, and what the story was, by the way, the actual court case that overturned the Chevron decision was a much smaller case. Fish and Wildlife was experiencing some budget cuts. So they unilaterally made the decision that they would put a government employee on every boat that was going out to fish, and that the owner of the boat had to pay for the employee's time. Had to. Okay, now this isn't an expert opinion or anything. This is just transferring cost. And so the fishermen sued, and the Supreme Court said that overturned Chevron, because the Supreme Court said that the courts are going to intervene, and that the regulator can be challenged in court. And in fact, lost in court. But it overturned Chevron. And so what we have now is a country that is in this big state of, because the Democrats really liked the idea of regulators being able to promulgate regulations that could not be challenged. Because as I have maintained, and I'm just trying to provide more and more evidence. And by the way, somebody once asked me where I am on the political spectrum, and I said I'm on the logical end. And I said by that I mean that I have certain beliefs that are based on facts that I believe to be true. If somebody can present facts to me to prove that what I believed were actually the facts, that in fact I was wrong about the facts, I'll change my position. That's what a logical person does. And so and the difference between proof and evidence is proof is always a form of evidence. Always. Evidence is not always proof.
Yes.
Okay, and so what I do is I look at evidence, and if I see more and more and more evidence, then that supports that. The more and more evidence supports what I believe to be true. Now, if somebody can present proof to prove that all this overwhelming evidence turns out to be false, and a good example of that would be in a murder trial. You have all this evidence that somebody did it, and then later you find DNA evidence that shows that somebody else did it, and that person's DNA wasn't there, even though there's all this evidence, because that's how some people get evidence planted.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
but the DNA proves that they are innocent. Then that's the case where the courts found somebody guilty, and then later, because of the improvement in DNA technology, they've determined that that person is not the one who did it; somebody else did it.
Yeah.
So that would be an example to me of proof being presented that would overcome a previous evidence. So in the case of what we're talking about here is you see all this evidence of these people who attend Harvard, who attend Princeton. They're not mentally stressed out when they get there.
Yeah.
But they're mentally stressed out when they leave. So what is it that Harvard and Princeton are doing that's causing that? It's a fair question. I don't know the answer, but something's happening while they're there.
Yeah. I think a lot of it's them moving the goalposts, because now there's a lot more language around if you feel overwhelmed, that's because you have an anxiety disorder, as opposed to just being I'm overwhelmed.
Well, it could be, but if you keep telling somebody that long enough, they'll actually develop it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
but that's the thing, is that it's the same from my standpoint, is that if you put a gun to someone's head and say you have to do a series of hard physical and mental challenges, at the end of the day, disorders disappear. That's my thing.
Okay.
So I wonder how much of this is genuinely crippling. If you put a gun to their head, they're still going to crumble. Or, and again, I'm not advocating for putting guns to people, Harvard grads' heads. Right. But if you put a gun to their heads, how many of those disorders all of a sudden become unfashionable is my thing. Because if you poll a bunch of people who are in the South who work hard jobs, who are, you ask them if they have mental health issues, they're going to be on the opposite end of the spectrum, where some of them who actually may have mental health issues are going to say no, because culturally it's not acceptable. Whereas at Harvard, you're a part of a club by being...
Yeah, but also what you're getting at here is that humans, I believe, are designed to work.
Yeah.
The people that you're saying in the South, ones you described, who don't have college degrees, who work primarily with their hands, repairs, make things like that. They're working hard, and by the way, at the end of each day, they know what they've accomplished that day.
Yeah, and they also know that if they bring up mental health issues, there's a good chance they might lose out on some opportunities at work.
Yeah, but that's true. But I'm even saying that people who do that are generally not.
Exactly,
yeah.
I agree.
Now, by the way, the career, and I can understand this. By the way, the career where there is the highest level of mental illness outside of military, I'm putting that one aside. Is healthcare, hospitals, because you're around. You're around
police.
That's second.
Oh,
that's the second. But healthcare, you're around sick and dying people if you're a hospital employee. That's who you are serving.
You kind of have to be a psychopath to be a really good surgeon. That's what I've always thought.
Okay, well. Maybe a trauma surgeon, certainly.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I feel like it would be so hard to not just get burned out on that.
Yeah,
job.
well, I'm saying that's why they do.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, but in the survey I was giving you, here's kind of this is the more likely to be categorized as having mental illness, and these are the other things. Number one, have a college degree. Number two, this is under the survey, be a Democrat. Number three, be a liberal. Number four, be white.
What's the difference between liberal and Democrat from their standpoint? Like, why'd they separate it?
That's a good question. I think for purposes of this, it would be very similar. It'd be cool. I think I would change the word liberal probably to progressive.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so, then the last one here is with all those things, slightly lower family income. Now that's interesting.
Are these in order, or are these in? They're just all together.
This is kind of if you have a college degree, if you're a Democrat, if you're white, and if you have a slightly lower family income,
then you're in the sweet spot.
Then you're in the sweet spot for having for being mentally ill, for suffering from mental illness. Let's put it that way.
Did they did you say anything about race in there?
White.
Oh, sweet. That's what I thought.
I said white.
I thought you said white. I
Yeah.
was just double checking.
Yeah.
Because that is an interesting point. I think when you think about races that generally don't seem to have a stereotype around mental illness, Asians. You know what I mean? When I think about a culture,
They're very family.
family oriented,
family
but also
oriented.
very stoic. They're gonna bottle things up.
Okay,
You
fair
know,
point. Well, that's very
culturally,
cultural.
you don't want to show
Well,
weakness.
that's also very culturally from the way Asians have been governed historically. I'm talking
Yeah.
about generationally.
And I still think about you think about that Hispanics as well. Very, very family
Very family.
oriented. I feel like the cultures that don't have a lot of family orientation,
Well,
that's going to be a big piece. Yeah.
And so anyway, I just found that to be interesting. And then so in a similar story, or to me a related story,
Yeah.
you had the Obama Center. What does he call it? The Obama.
Yes.
The grand opening of the Obama Center. It's not the Obama Library. It's the Obama.
Is it not? I thought
no.
it was a library.
No, they call it the Obama Presidential. It's called the Obama Presidential Center.
Ah, it looks like a
Okay.
prison.
It has a very strange architecture.
Mm-hmm.
But here's what's interesting about this. It originally was supposed to be open 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was originally budgeted to cost $300 million.
Mm-hmm.
As of last night, I heard that the $850 million number has been moved to $1 billion.
Yep.
But here's what's also interesting. The president of the Association of Black Contractors in Chicago, there's an association of black contractors in Chicago. Obama made a point when he announced that his center was going to be built that he was going to use minority contractors.
Yeah.
He has stiffed them.
Interesting.
Yeah. Some of them are going to go broke. They're having to. They are declaring bankruptcy because they did hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars of work on the center for which they have not been paid. So it's a fascinating thing.
And the money is coming from the government?
No.
Where's the money coming from?
You have to raise
It's
the
from
money.
founders. Okay,
When you
cool,
do
yeah.
your own library, you have to raise the money.
Okay, cool. Good to go.
And
I would not be shocked, though. I would not be shocked if
yeah,
somehow.
but he didn't. But what I'm saying is that Obama doesn't. He didn't. There's no mention. There's no mention of the many black contractors that he has destroyed. As he celebrated the opening of the Obama Center with. So
What are they gonna? What are they
he
even
gives
do
a speech and he disparages money. He disparages. He says everything is about money. Everything is about attention. Everything is about fame. Everything is about getting over. But meanwhile, there's just a lot of people out here doing the right thing and raising their families and taking care of people. And those are the people that he stiffed.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so here he is surrounding himself with Bruce Springsteen, Christina Aguilera, Common, Eddie Vedder, Jennifer Hudson, John Legend, Mark Anthony, Marsha Martin, The Roots, Stevie Wonder, Tim's, U2's Bono, and The Edge. I guess it's U2's Bono and The Edge. I guess it's
It's a noteworthy. It's a very diverse crew there.
Well, he puts on a his grand opening. This grand opening had to cost millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's stiffing the contractors.
Well, all of them are getting paid as well.
Sure.
None of these people show up without a paycheck.
No, that's right. That's right. And so
it's like Beyonce for Kamala Harris.
But it's so interesting that because this is a great example of just projection.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
for Obama, it is about fame. It is about money.
Yeah.
When he was president, he says, once you've gotten enough money, a certain amount of money, you ought to just be happy to stop earning it. He has 4 mansions.
No.
And I mean, we're talking about mansions. We're talking about each one is more than $10 million. He has 4. One in Washington, one in Chicago, one at Martha's Vineyard, and one in Hawaii.
Oh, I didn't realize he had one in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The water is going to, global warming.
Maybe so. But
it's going to take it away.
I just found that that whole thing to just be a fascinating juxtaposition. And everything about Obama's legacy, Trump is undoing it. And that's what upsets Obama the most. I don't believe that Trump will have overturned Obamacare by the time he leaves the office. But Obamacare is continuing to create more and more and more problems in our healthcare system. And Democrats' solution is to just simply throw more money at it. And in fact, what's fascinating now is, let me read this headline. This is from BizPac Review. Report reveals Uncle Sam has no idea if feds are handing out taxpayer dollars to the wrong people. So I'm just going to quote from the story. This is from the GAO, the Government Accountability Office. A draft of the report reviewed by the DCNF exposed that there is no way to cross-reference the USAspending.gov records detailing who receives government awards with who is on the do not pay list. There is a quote, do not pay list. Okay. Current law requires government expenditures to be listed on USAspending.gov so Americans can see who is receiving their taxpayer dollars. Although there's currently no way of knowing whether the individuals receiving the funds are supposed to. Okay, there's no cross-reference.
Yeah.
So it's just like seeing just this mountain of data that you can't do anything with.
Yeah.
And here's what's interesting is that blue states, are refusing to cooperate with the federal government to identify the people who should not be receiving federal dollars. They are refusing to cooperate. They are encouraging and endorsing and now protecting fraud within their states. And as I said in an earlier podcast, this is now part of their business model.
Yeah.
It's a form of coining money because it's a way to get federal dollars into your state that otherwise wouldn't get there. And so this I believe is tied to those poll numbers. Because when a party becomes officially corrupt, and I'm not saying it's on their website that we are corrupt, but actions speak louder than words. And their actions are, we're not going to cooperate to try to find the frauds within our own state who are stealing taxpayer dollars out of Washington, D.C. They're not doing it. And then when you look at those poll numbers, what concerns me is that if Democrats were to get back in power again, and you look at what they've done in California with the voting laws, to make it very, very, very difficult for Democrats to be beaten, makes it almost impossible.
Yeah, I wish they would change. One thing about the poll as well is that sometimes I wish they would change that question from "Are you proud to be American?" to "Are you grateful to be an American?" Because let
me say this: that would be a great idea to see if there's a difference there. Now, the other thing that we need to mention here, and I don't know the answer. You may have an opinion on this that is based on something, and that is, what percentage of the country do you think describes themselves as Republican, Democrat, and independent? What's the independent? Because they polled Republicans and they polled Democrats. And so
I guess they did have did they have an undecided up
they
there?
did not.
No,
they
might have flashed it.
Might have had no opinion, but it wasn't.
That's what it was.
It wasn't. That poll was among Republicans and Democrats, and it might have been that a Democrat was undecided or a Republican was undecided, but they didn't poll independents, and I think independents probably represent 35 to 40% of the electorate now.
Interesting.
That's what I think. So what are you pulling up there?
45% of U.S. adults identify as political independents.
Okay.
45, and then it's 27 and 27.
Okay. So what does that mean?
It says here. While 27 identify as Democrats and 27% as Republicans.
I thought you said they identify as independents.
No, it says a record high 45% of U.S. adults identify as political independents, while 27% identify as Democrats and 27% as Republicans. Which
So that's now that adds some color here.
Yeah.
And CNN, in order for their polls to really provide as much insight as possible, they need to be polling independents on those same questions, because they're leaving out 45%. They're taking what I would call the political. I'm putting the independents. I'm saying they're the ones who are, quote, in the middle.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So they're not going to be as excited about patriotism as Republicans. Probably.
Yeah, most likely.
And they're not going to be as depressed about it as Democrats, but it'd be interesting to see where they fall.
Yeah.
Because I did not have any idea that it had gotten up to 45%.
I was surprised. I was going to guess 20.
Yeah. Well, I was in higher than that, but certainly not 45. So then here's another interesting story. This is the headline. California government workers who never came back after COVID argue that going into the office is now bad for the environment. Gavin Newsom has finally said, if you work for the state, you must come to the office 4 days a week. They're suing the state union. The state workers union is suing, claiming that it will harm the environment if they're forced to come to work. But they're still getting paid. Now, this is
Are
years.
they working? But
We have no idea.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't. I mean, they might be logged on.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, but you don't have any idea what they're. And they may log on. They may have another job. They may have another computer.
Yeah.
I mean, you have no idea if they're working because they're
That's a good point.
supervisors. I mean, this is the nature of government.
Yeah.
And that's why I say that when we say that government is inherently inefficient, and that the private sector is inherently efficient, that doesn't mean that all businesses are efficient.
Yeah.
It means that if you aren't efficient, you'll go out of business.
Exactly.
If you're in the government and you're inherently inefficient, you get more money.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
and which is why California is the least affordable state in the country, yet it's the highest tax state.
Yeah.
So, and it's controlled completely by Democrats. This is one. This hot off the press as of today. Pritzker adds $800 million a year in new taxes to the state of Illinois. And this is Illinois Policy Institute says that Pritzker has presided over at least 63 tax and fee increases. The latest one is a tax on advertising. Now, where he's imposing a tax in Illinois on advertising. Now, here's what's going to be interesting. Is a tax on advertising a tax on free speech or a tax on speech? That'll go. This will go to court because it's not income per se. It's a tax on. It's like a. It's
So
like
if you spend 20% of your ARR on advertising, you're going to have to contend with
now
that cost.
a state tax in Illinois.
What's the percentage?
The article doesn't say.
Okay, interesting.
But it
Is there precedence for advertising
It does
taxes?
have an interesting little thing that Pritzker. It says but he's very frugal with his own money. It says Pritzker had 5 toilets ripped out of his second mansion, so that he could save $330,000 in property taxes.
Wow.
So apparently the number of toilets
That's hilarious.
in a home has something to do with property taxes. James Tallarico, I'm just going down a few little stories here, who's the Democrat candidate in Texas, and he's got all kinds of problems now because
He does. A lot more stuff is coming out.
Well, and this is something that is interesting. That there's a video of him in 2020 where he is saying that he is very proud that he is one of the founding members in the Texas state legislature because he was in the LGBTQ caucus. Now, to be in the LGBTQ
QIA
caucus,
plus.
but if you're in that caucus, don't you have to be one of those things? I mean, if you're in the black caucus, don't you have to be black? Steve Cohen, by the way, tried to get into the black caucus, and they wouldn't let him. Even though Steve Cohen represented a very, very heavily black district in Memphis, he wasn't black. So Tellerico is claiming he has a girlfriend that he's deeply in love with. But a few years ago, there's a video of him saying that he is very proud that he's one of the founding members of the LGBTQ caucus. Now, so if he's gay, he's obviously trying to be in the closet about it. Which, if he's trying to run on authenticity, that wouldn't work.
That's hard.
And if he's not, then why was he in the caucus? It's just an interesting question. But the other thing that this headline says, it says that he has come out and he says that his faith, his Christian faith, means that he cannot take money from super PACs. The problem is on his website, there's a page in there that tells super PACs how to spend money to help his campaign. It's on his website.
Exactly,
so everything about this guy, I mean, he's
just a politician.
No, he's much worse. He's much worse than just a politician. Not all politicians.
This is what I expect from every politician, deep down in their heart.
There's not a single thing about him that he is willing to stand up. When he in 2020, he was very proud to be running a vegan-only campaign. He claims he's not vegan.
Yeah.
But yet he was very proud of being a vegan in 2020.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that when a politician feels like in order to get elected, elected, they have to take everything that they said they believed was important just 3 or 4 years ago and completely flip on the issue.
Like Hillary.
Hillary
was a great example.
Yeah.
She was against gay marriage till 2014, and then no one remembers this.
Yeah.
But literally in 2014, you're talking about a principled decision.
Yeah.
And that's something you flipped on. Because
and Biden opposed doing away with the Hyde Amendment.
Yes, that's right.
And he said it was based on his Catholic faith. So then he supported doing away with the Hyde Amendment, but the Catholic faith hadn't changed. So he says. So what I'm saying is, so it'll be interesting in Texas to see if all of these, and these are not flip flops. These are just straight out. These are just straight out lack of authenticity.
Yeah.
But here's an interesting question: Elizabeth Warren, when SpaceX went public, Elon Musk became the first trillionaire in the history of the world.
Minus maybe some of the Saudis.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But
The ones who are quiet.
Yeah. But fair enough. So Elon Musk is purportedly the first trillionaire.
Yes.
And
I'm sure that pisses off Jeff Bezos.
Well, there's a lot of probably hundreds of billionaires who are envious.
Yeah, that's right.
But they can still do whatever they want to with their lives. But Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, who are both multimillionaires, having never have come out against Elon Musk, claiming that he is too rich. Now, here's what's interesting: how many millionaires in all? Because he started like 7 companies, and I don't know the answer to my own question. So we're going to just see if our guesses are close.
Yeah.
How many millionaires do you think Elon Musk has made who worked for any of his 7 companies?
No, man, thousands at this point.
Tens of thousands.
Yeah.
In fact, there was a welder, just a welder, who'd been working for SpaceX since his first year. He is now, his stock options as a welder are now worth $1.5 million. It was $900,000 the day it went public, and it's gone up 50% since then.
Man, that's so cool.
Yeah, and so that is really neat.
Yeah.
But there are thousands and tens of thousands of people who are now millionaires, and then there are another hundreds of thousands whose stock is worth at least $100,000. And so how many people? And Elizabeth Warren is a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
How many people has she shared her wealth with? None.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders is a multimillionaire. He hasn't shared his wealth with anybody. There's not anybody who rode along, because neither one of them made money building anything, doing anything,
creating value,
or innovating.
Yeah.
And so what's interesting
Even if
to
they
me
give
is
their money away, they took it
if
from
I were
someone else.
debating them, here's the question I would ask if I was in front of an audience. I'd say, here's the question: would you rather go to work for a new Elon Musk company, or would you rather go to work in Elizabeth Warren's Senate office?
Yeah.
And you had to be in both for the next 10 years.
And you'll get exactly the question. You'll get the exact answer you expect from the people who are left. They will say, "Well, of course, Elizabeth Warren."
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, they'll be dishonest.
I don't think so.
Yeah, they'll be dishonest. That's the whole idea. You have to believe these ideas. You have to be fundamentally dishonest.
No,
when you have these conversations.
I think if you ask that question, I believe that if you're putting it that way, you have to, and you have to be there for the next 10 years.
That's a big piece. Be there for the next 10 years is a big piece.
Yeah. And what I'm saying is that this is going to affect your life. If you're one of Elon Musk's companies and it's as successful as his and his other companies, you're going to walk away in 10 years and be financially independent.
Yeah.
If you go to work for Elizabeth Warren, you're going to be yelled and screamed at for 10 years, and you're going to walk away with a tiny.
Unless you think she has a run for president. You know, that's the whole thing.
I'm saying her Senate office. I didn't say work for her.
Oh,
I said work in her Senate office.
Yeah, but if you got close to her and then she became president, and I feel
didn't say that.
I know, but that's what someone who is going to cognitively bias, and they're a way around.
Then I would keep it as a senator.
All right, cool.
I'm trying to. What I'm saying is that this is her life.
Yeah.
Her life is she's made millions of dollars. She's been in the U.S. Senate for now, 15 or 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay. The people that have worked for her.
Who knows where they're at?
They're. So at any rate, I just think it's interesting.
Yeah.
Then here's an interesting one. The House Democrat is launching an impeachment, is trying to impeach the Secretary of Education, claiming that shrinking the Federal Department of Education, is a is a high crime or misdemeanor. And so here's what she says, and this is an interesting choice of words. About 90% of students in this country attend public schools. Students have a right to equal access without discrimination. She doesn't say that students have a right to a quality education, high quality education, because public schools don't give a high quality education. They give access.
That's right.
And that's because this lady is owned by the teachers' unions. And so the teachers' unions are upset because the bureaucrats in Washington are members of one of these unions. And if their numbers are being shrunk, that is something that is untenable for the government employee unions. This one, have you been following this SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center?
Yes.
This is the newest one. Former SPLC fascism expert dated a neo-Nazi for years and shared a bank account used for six-figure payments. Did you see that story?
Yeah. Well, I sent the initial one to you and Mike and the group thread.
Well, the story is getting some of the details are getting more and more filled out.
Yeah.
And now you see the Southern Poverty Law Center people who are being called to testify before Congress either taking the fifth or say that matter is in the courts. And so they're not answering the questions.
Exactly.
They won't even answer the questions whether or not they know a person. So that tells me that where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah.
This one I find fascinating, and I want to get your kind of opinion on this. Leslie Stalls. Leslie Stalls has said, she says, this is about all these people being fired from 60 Minutes and from CBS News. Here's what she says. Oh, God, this is awful. This is by far the worst experience I've been involved in or even witnessed. Now think about all the things that she has witnessed
I was about to say.
in her years as journalism, and she thinks that the firing of her friends is worse than the child abuse.
Yeah, right.
Stories that she has seen, anything bad, and CBS reports on 60 Minutes. Even the things that would be right leaning that she thinks are terrible.
Yes,
she thinks this is even worse than that. So the level of arrogance in the highest levels of the journalists, to me is being brought out by Scott Pelley and
before that it was Don Lemon, just realizing he had a very overinflated view of himself
and Jim
Acosta.
Jim Acosta, Joy Reid.
All these people, and then they go off into their own world and realize that actually no one cares.
Well,
the only people who make it work are Tucker and Candace and a few others.
Do you think Don Lemon? I'd be interesting to know if Don Lemon, Joy Reid, and Jim Acosta, if they're able to monetize, if they're monetizing effectively.
I know Don Lemon is.
He is,
but I don't. Effectively is relative, obviously, but. He's obviously not doing numbers that he was when he was
that's what I was asking. But
I think Tucker isn't too far away.
Okay,
and that's a different person. But I don't think he's too far away now. He's got some great endorsements, and these are heavy things. But I think even when you're talking about the person saying this is the worst thing they've ever seen, there's the thing people believe, and there's the thing people say because of the thing they're trying to get done.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm always interested in, especially with even going back to the poll about proud to be American, because. Me personally, I'm not proud to be an American because I didn't earn it. I was born here. I'm grateful. But it's a strange term for me whenever someone says they're proud of something. It's like being proud to be white.
That's an interesting
It's a weird
nuance.
thought.
It's an interesting nuance.
It's too semantic for this. I mean, obviously, the CNN poll, people get it.
How about this question? Are you proud of America?
No. But I'm not proud.
Okay.
I view it, especially since meeting you, I've spent a lot more time reading about history and reading about other countries and reading about different things. And the more you read, the more you realize that America is definitionally exceptional in so many ways.
Yeah, I hold our Declaration of Independence and the Constitution in awe.
Yes, likewise.
I think that they are amazing because they were drafted by humans.
And
especially the Constitution.
100%.
So a couple of other stories that are really interesting. This one is interesting. This was the EU Parliament. I didn't know there was a Parliament for the EU. There actually is. Yeah. Oh. There's a Parliament for the EU. I'm not sure what powers they have, but they have a lot of influence. The EU Parliament voted for the strictest immigration laws in the last 50 years. Okay,
That's very surprising.
and then when they after the vote, there was chanting from the floor, "Send them back." Chanting,
Wow.
yeah, chanting from the floor
Man, it's
of the
turned.
EU Parliament, yeah. And so what you're seeing here is, and I don't know whether or not because the
You saw
percentage-
Ireland, right?
Well, yes, yeah, and the people who it's reaching a boiling point.
Yes.
And what happened in Ireland was also in Great Britain, but this is the whole EU, and of course that's
Yes.
not Great Britain.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
And
Politicians
then
in
here's
Ireland.
another,
Politicians.
here's
are gonna
another
die.
headline. I'm curious if you've seen the news on this. I didn't know this until I saw this. Okay, the EU has agreed to eliminate tariffs on imports of all U.S. industrial goods as part of the agreement on reciprocal, fair, and balanced trade. However, the U.S. will impose a 15% tariff on most imports from the EU. Now, did you know that?
I did not know. I haven't
Yeah.
seen anything about this.
So Trump's tariffs against Europe, which the Democrats said
Wouldn't
wouldn't work,
Yeah.
have gotten the EU
Gotten somewhere.
to agree to eliminate tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really really something.
Yeah.
How about this Major League Baseball, where the Major League Baseball is making their players wear a pride hat during a pride baseball cap, a rainbow, and then you have some Major League Baseball players who are putting Bible verses
That's right.
on their baseball cap so that it signifies for them what the rainbow
The arc,
means to
yeah.
them. Okay, which is a Bible verse.
That's right.
Where it talks about the rainbow. And Major League Baseball has come out and attacked them, claiming that you don't have a right to do that. However, here's the problem Major League Baseball has. On other social issues, certain Major League Baseball players have put things on their cap,
Yep.
and
There's
Major League
precedence.
Baseball allowed it. They didn't say
'Cause
you
it was
can't do that.
fashionable. Yep.
And so Major League Baseball is going to have a really tough time defending their inconsistency. Claiming I have a right to be inconsistent
Yeah.
doesn't generally work in court.
That's right.
But we got into defining an oligarch. And see, I think Bernie Sanders is the ultimate oligarch. The ultimate. He's been over there. He's been there for 30 years.
Even more so than a president, because the president has terms.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I'm saying. Bernie Sanders has, and I don't mean this in a positive way.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it's a very negative thing, but he has accomplished more of his agenda than any politician in my lifetime because government has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and every time government gets bigger, he's there voting for it.
That's right.
And so, so I just found that to be kind of interesting. Energy Commission is now the American families. I'm just going to quote from the article. Energy Commission moves to lower prices for Americans. American families have been paying higher energy prices in the wake of the war of Iran. We all know that. But one government agency is looking to fast-track relief measures that will ultimately lead to lower prices over time. And here's what the headline says. What the story reads. The relief comes from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, which voted unanimously 5-0 to streamline the bureaucracy that has been bottlenecking natural gas infrastructure for years and hamstringing common sense energy projects by Byzantine rules. By the way, did you see that soundbite of Joe Biden riding in the car with Jay Leno?
No.
I invite our audience to pull it up, and if you search for it, Joe Biden is actually telling Jay Leno how proud he is of how much he limited fossil fuel production in the United States while he was president.
That's not surprising.
Well, it's true.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. But it's not surprising he's bragging about it. is the
No,
point,
it's
Yeah.
but to listen to Democrats, they're all about lower gasoline prices. In fact, that's all they're concentrating on. And
Well, that's what they're told to think about.
and coming into the election, I'm going to guess that gasoline prices by the middle of September, or maybe even September 1st. Yeah, given where we are now, by September 1st, I believe gasoline prices for regular will be down in many states at $3. Which is as low as they've been in years.
Yeah, it's normal.
Because what happens is it takes a period of time. Once a price of a barrel of oil goes down, it takes about 6 to 8 weeks for that to filter through all the way to the gas pump.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because people have had to buy the higher priced, they have to refine it, they have to ship it, and so there's I'm going to say there's 6 weeks in that pipeline. This one is one, and this is going to be the last one we talk about, and I don't know if we're going to get all the way through this, but there's a media watchdog group called called NewsGuard. I don't know if you've heard about it.
I have not.
But it is now claiming that that it is using AI to ferret out and to rate websites and providers of news. They're rating them on their accuracy. But so much of news is opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. Or actually, it's not even just opinion. It's what you choose to report, what you choose not to report.
What's developing, et cetera.
Yeah. And so this gets into this misinformation and disinformation stuff, and whether or not. And so in the U.S., there's still a big battle over that, and the courts generally side with free speech.
Yeah.
And in Europe, it's these guys would do well, because in Europe, suppressing information that the government doesn't want, governments have the right to do that. Let me say this: they don't have the right; they have the authority.
Yes, that's a good way.
It's a better way to say it.
That's a much better
so
way
to do that. Well, listen, Rush, we're going to have to wrap it up here today.
It was rapid fire. I liked it.
rapid fire. But I thought that poll is so interesting, and we're going to be continuing to talk about that poll in particular through the election, because when you have that much angst and that much of a divide, that's not good.
That's
I mean,
right.
I'm not saying this is not about whether Republicans will win or Democrats will win.
Yeah.
It's how we are governed. If you have a society where one side just truly hates the other, I don't hate Democrats. I think their policies are bad. I think their policies harm long-term growth and prosperity. But I don't hate Democrats. In fact, I enjoy debating Democrats. Most Democrats that are on the far left, they don't enjoy debate.
No,
they don't. And that's why, for example, I think this Harvard and Princeton thing. I think over 90% of the professors at those universities would describe themselves as on the left side of the spectrum.
Marxists.
Not necessarily Marxists, but just on the left, the pro-government on the left side of the spectrum. And I think that the combination, if you're there for 4 years and you're just getting hammered by people who have, if they're professors, are going to have an influence on you.
Yeah,
you're going to the classes to learn things. And if you're just being beaten up with leftist ideology, I can see how by the time you're a senior, if you've bought into it, I can see how you could be very depressed.
Yeah, 100%.
So we're gonna end it there, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you soon. Thanks.